prices, there was so much for sale that prices were collapsing. That's not happening this time.
Right.
And the reason it's not is there's a lack of homes for sale. That is actually finally changing right now. I did a post on my personal Facebook and LinkedIn on Sunday morning, and I said multiple offers, bidding wars, etc.
I saw that post.
Did you see it?
Yes.
And now, don't get me wrong. There's still pockets like where we have an office in Connecticut. There's still particularly low inventory. There's still some of that. You get close to Boston, there's still some of that, but it's evaporating everywhere. By the time we get to mid-fall, unless someone dramatically underprices their home, I shouldn't say dramatically, underprices their home, you're not going to see that. So we're in an adjustment now, but the amount of homes for sale, I mean, it's slow. Like, just to give you numbers, 2024, about 60,000 homes sold in Massachusetts. The average annually for the last 30 years is 93,000.
Holy shit.
Whoa.
Wow.
People don't realize it.
That's fucking crazy.
It's crazy.
Wow.
The United States, last year, 4 million home sales. The average is 5.3 million. And truthfully, I don't even believe it was 4. I don't believe it. I think it was less.
What, because you're in multiple markets, which is a whole other conversation we could probably get into. Do you see a difference in, Florida compared to Massachusetts, Massachusetts compared to New Hampshire compared to, like, how is it affecting?
So think about this. When a market goes bad, when an economy goes bad, what's the first house people let go of? Their first house, their primary.
Home.
Thank you. Second home. Yeah. So we started seeing this happen down in Florida 2 years ago. Remember the Surfside Tower collapse, the Champlain Tower in northern Miami?
Crazy.
Dude, nuts.
Yeah.
It's going to happen again.
So
in a different building for sure.
I don't know. They're regulating the shit out of everything.
Well, the old buildings, because they're not going to revamp it.
Well, no, they're for HOAs are like, that's what's happening right now down there. Like HOAs are forcing these huge, I forget what they're calling them, but no, they're these huge renovations to existing buildings, and then people are getting smashed with these huge bills. Right?
I can explain it. So that happens in Florida. What happens? Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, which back every, 60% of the loans in the nation, say, whoa, we're not going to back the paper unless they've had the proper amount of maintenance done, unless there's the proper amount of money in reserves. Because the problem with condos is people think when they own a condo, they only have to give a shit about what's inside the four walls. No, you own a fractional percentage of the entire building. And the attitude of a lot of condo owners is, I don't want to spend money if it's not inside my four walls. That's why that happened. When that happened, God rest their souls, it's so sad what happened. But I remember I was in Florida, in Fort Myers, and my uncle said to me, you know how condos work. Whose fault is this? I said, well, if I had to guess, the owners. Because I can't tell you, this is part of why we got out of property management. We have owners, we had owners that are like, I don't want to spend the money. It's like, well, you can't keep putting off maintenance. You can't keep doing that. So Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, which is one and the same, they said, you need to have the proper amount in reserves. You need to make sure you're caught up with maintenance. And oh, by the way, every 30 years, a building needs to have a complete structural review. Insurance companies said similar things, a little stricter. The state of Florida put their own law in place. They said you have to have the proper amount of reserves by December 31st, 2024. When that went into play, it was at a time, and it wasn't, the date didn't kick in yet, but it was like 18 months or 2 years out. A lot of the owners in Florida were cocky because they just went through 4 or 5 years of everything selling immediately. We got to say, if we're short on our reserves, everybody throw in 10 grand. Everybody throw in 30 grand. Well, if you're, dude, if you're a 60-year-old owner,
right,
you can throw in 30 grand. Well, imagine our kids, right? I got 4 kids. My daughter's 17 and a half. In 5 years, if she owns a condo and they say, hey, Ava, you got to throw 30 grand in, she's going to be like, what?
Yeah.
Where's she going to get it?
What?
Yeah, exactly.
You can call me, right?
Right.
So my point is, they did that. That happened all over the place. So that's why condos across America are getting hit, but Florida in particular is getting hit harder. So we already saw inventory going up there, properties sitting, sellers, overplaying their hand with their list price. Now we're seeing it here. And, there's still some multiple offers, but it's dissipating. And now we're going to go through some period of time, I suspect probably the rest of this year and all of next year, where sellers are going to get a gut check. Buyers have power back. Yeah. It'll reset a new equilibrium. Prices won't go up. Maybe prices will even go down a few points. Do I think they're going to go down 20%? No. There's not enough inventory. Right now, there's 11,000 homes for sale in Massachusetts. right now, this time of year, 2008, there were 47,000 homes for sale.
Holy shit.
So anybody that says it's going to be like '08, I'm like, no, it's not. Do I think that we're in for some adjustment and it's necessary? Yes. Do I think a year from now we could be at 18 or 20,000 homes for sale? Yes, but we're not at 47,000.
Right.
And there's major differences in the system between then and now. Then there wasn't as much equity. They were giving mortgages to people that didn't deserve them. That's not the case now.
Right. Here, people are locked into low interest rates, so they don't necessarily have to sell. Right.
And that's a big thing.
Correct.
During
Is
COVID, they
is that what's-
refinanced.
Right. Exactly.
That's the biggest part of the problem is everybody's addicted to low rates. And then you get people like my dad and probably yours. The rates aren't high. I'm like,
Oh yeah, because they were
We're
like,
not-
in 1990 it was 18%. Yeah,
my dad says it. I explain it every month. He says it again every month. I said, Dad, I hear you if you compare the two numbers. But if you study the 1970s, early 1970s to 1981, rates were like 7% to 11% by the time you got to 80. So when rates went to 18, 19%, they were nearly double where they came from. Our rates were 2.6, 2.8, 3%. They went to 8.
Right.
We nearly tripled this time.
Right.
And if you measure the cost of living, average incomes, and average home sale price, what's happened as far as affordability goes is worse this time than in the early 80s. But
100%.
go over that with my dad and yours.
Exactly.
They don't believe
Exactly.
it.
Don't give a shit.
When the houses was like 70 grand, and I know it was relative then, but it's affordability is a completely different animal.
Correct.
With the rates.
Correct. Yeah,
A
and-
small bump in rates with the $1 million house is a huge difference.
I mean, people buying $800,000 houses, and their payments are $8,500, $9,000 a month.
I know.
That's insane. Even car payments, dude.
Oh, it's nuts.
It's all the same shit. It's like a $40,000 car is like $900 a month. It's like, since fucking when?
So if you're a first-time home buyer right now, what do you say to them? Like, because everyone's waiting for some kind of price dip or somebody to tell them to do something,
Right.
Well,
and nobody knows what to do.
Good question. So the first-time buyers that can afford it, I mean, do the best you can, buy the best you can.